like the way you do that right there. Hello, darlings.
Hey, guys. Hey.
I feel like I went, hello. Let's do that again. Hello, darlings.
Hey, guys.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
I'm Kara.
I'm Megan.
We're struggling today.
I'm in a bad mood.
Megan hates everything.
I just feel like I need to tell everybody I'm having a real bad day. And this episode like makes me angry. Like, even if I was having a good day, this episode would make me angry. But the fact that I'm already in a bad mood, like, I'm just like, listen, if you need me to yell at somebody for you, today's the day.
She is here for that.
I would love to.
She needs to.
I can't yell at the people I want to yell at. So let me yell at your people instead. Please. Thanks.
Megan will write a really aggressive email.
It'll be good too. I'm a writer. It's what I do.
It'll be real wordy.
Okay, so the Patreon episode that we just recorded, I did a deep dive into mental asylums.
Yeah.
And in researching that, I led to this.
Oh.
And this...
There was like a channel that pulled you into it.
There was a direct path here.
Okay.
And I just... Are you ready to be mad?
Sure. Yeah, I would like to be mad today.
You're on the YouTube video, like her face just lit up, like
I would like that
joyfully. I would love to be angry.
I would love to be mad today. Thank you for this moment.
Oh, you're so welcome. Whatever I could do for you. Okay. Wait. A couple things we need to tell you guys. Quick bit of business.
Ooh.
We are taking a break for the month of June.
Yes.
So this will be the last episode for a few weeks. Now, we are going to put out one episode in June because we have an ad obligation to fulfill.
Affiliate.
I don't know, words.
Things are hard
A second
today.
ago, I was talking about how good I am at words.
We're
Writing them, not
reading them or speaking them.
So we'll have that. And if you're on the Patreon, you'll get your episodes. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But just so anybody not on the Patreon knows, there's just going to be like one more episode that comes out in June.
We're coming back. We're just taking a little breather.
A break.
Yeah. Working on our work.
And then we have some stuff to catch up on.
And then, yes.
So we want to do that. And then we're also revamping the whole podcast store.
Yes.
We're going to get rid of everything and add new merch. And then we're going to bring back some of the merch, just like a couple of the staple pieces and bestseller types things.
Yes.
But if there's anything that you have your eye on that you want for yourself before we delete everything and start from scratch.
Yeah.
Now is the time to get it. And we are helping you by giving you a discount code. All of you
get a discount code. You get a discount
Everybody
code.
gets a discount code. It's going to be the word besties.
Besties. In all caps, or does it matter?
TIES. I don't think it matters, but let's just do all caps just
Let's
in
do
case it
all
matters.
caps besties.
And if that doesn't work, do lower caps.
Lower caps.
Lowercase. So that is going to go for the month of June.
Yep.
And then the new stuff will launch in July when we come back. Okay. So if you got your eye on anything at the podcast store, now's the time, because I can't even tell you at the moment what is going to be there in July and what's not, because we haven't decided. So just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a quick trigger warning here. We're talking about abuse of all kinds.
Oh.
And there's some mention of suicide.
Okay.
There's some mention of infanticide.
Okay.
And sexual assault.
Okay.
Do you see why I'm angry?
I'm angry already.
Just like I hate everything.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. In 1992, a convent in Dublin, Ireland, sold a parcel of land.
Okay.
But when developers started digging, they found something. A big, decades-old secret. It was a mass grave with 155 bodies.
Oh.
I believe all women. Most had no death certificate. An investigation began, and ultimately it was discovered that the grave held the bodies of people who had been sent to the Magdalene laundries. Let me start over.
Words.
Most had no death certificate. An investigation began, and ultimately it was discovered that the grave held the bodies of people who had been sent to the Magdalene laundries, named for Mary Magdalene.
Okay.
When journalists learned that only 75 death certificates existed for the 155 people found, the nuns explained there had just been a clerical error.
Oh, don't worry about those.
Cremated all the remains and reburied them in another mass grave.
Mm.
But at that point, it's too late. People
Yeah.
wanted answers about who the bodies were and why they didn't all have death certificates. And that's when women who had been through the Magdalene laundries and survived started to come forward and tell their stories.
Oh my gosh.
So Mary Magdalene, just very quickly, she is a figure from the Bible.
Jesus' mother.
She's not, I don't think she's
She's not.
She's not. She accompanied him.
Mm-hmm.
She was an apostle, I believe.
To the tomb.
I'm the worst person.
Right.
I did
To
read
the
about
tomb.
her really quickly. Huh?
To the tomb.
Well, she was the one
She was the
who
one that
supposedly was like, she was a former prostitute. And she became this symbol of like penance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if I'm allowed to say prostitute anymore, but that is what I read in the article.
Right.
So I'm just going to use that word. But the thing is, even that is a little controversial. They're not entirely sure that she was ever a prostitute.
Or even existed.
But that's how they do if you go along with any of it, they think that she was a real historical figure. It's just like,
what was she?
Right.
Yeah.
So to tell you what the Magdalene laundries were, first I need to start with asylums. Ireland's first asylum opened in Dublin in 1765 with the intent to prevent sex work. It became a home for unwed mothers and women who had premarital sex. Because the thought was, let's put them here and try to keep them from going into sex work. We'll teach them a skill or some sort of trade so they can support themselves. The idea itself, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 1765. Women had no opportunities.
Right.
So saying like, we are going to teach you and help you.
Yeah.
That's good.
You can't have sexual desires.
A lot of women went there by choice.
Okay.
And it wasn't like you go here forever. Women would go on these asylums for a short time. You go there, you get on your feet, you leave and go take care of yourself.
Okay.
Some parents sent their daughters there to hide out of wedlock pregnancies.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's how it started.
I mean, I guess that's better than getting a really like sketchy abortion.
Oh, for sure. So if you've heard my episode on the Patreon that just came out, you know that for the most part, all of these asylums were started with the best of intentions.
Places.
But they were started, they really were initially meant to help. Things started out fine, and then things go bad.
Yeah.
By 1922, these asylums were known as the Magdalene Laundries, and they had become a for-profit system run by 4 religious groups. The Sisters of Mercy, the Sisters of Charity, the Good Shepherd Sisters, and the Sisters of Our Lady of Charity. It's like word salad of like
what?
The Sisters of Hope, Mercy, Charity, and Love and Grace.
And charity ladies.
And sisterhood of our
charities.
Children.
And mercies.
Okay.
Next business model.
If you throw in enough words like that, people will just give you money because you sound good.
Good and wholesome.
I feel like this is what I need to stop and say. Religion. God isn't bad, but people are.
Right.
And people who think they're acting on behalf of God
so bad
and hide behind God. And of course, I'm saying this as, everybody's welcome to their religious beliefs, but like, this is my personal feeling.
Right.
Like, people who act on behalf of God and get to like be like, oh, I can do this because God said so.
God
those
said in the
people
Bible that I'm allowed to come at you.
Oh my God, those people are the worst.
Yeah. We have one at the coffee shop that comes in quite often loudly and says stuff like that. Did you know that the moon is melting? That's the latest. It's rusting and melting. The moon. Okay. So then when the moon's gone, our gravitational pull's gone. The sun's gonna eat us up.
That's just science.
Science and Jesus.
And I was going to say, and
he believes he's speaking on behalf of Jesus.
So he can't be wrong. That's the problem, is because when you're like, well, I'm doing this because God said so, it's like you set up a thing where who can argue?
Yeah.
And like people can argue, but then you'll find some random obscure verse in the Bible and be like, right here. Like
right here. It
it's
came
like,
from
oh
here.
my gosh.
That's
I can find
where you got
verse
that
in the Bible
right.
to back up about anything I want.
Exactly.
If your God
Mhm.
means that you get to treat other people badly or hurt people
Mhm.
or
That's a wolf in
put yourself
sheep's
above other
clothing,
people,
Megan.
like, that's not a God I want any part of.
That's
you
a
know,
wolf in sheep's clothing, Megan.
oh gosh. Okay, so the laundries promised to reform, quote, fallen women.
Mm.
The nuns took in promiscuous women, which included unwed mothers and their children.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Other people in the laundries were victims of sexual abuse, women who were deemed too flirtatious. Like, who decides that?
Yeah.
Women with disabilities, orphans, and impoverished children. Suffering was penance for sin, the nuns of the Magdalene would preach, even to those who had come to the laundries directly from orphanages or industrial schools for juvenile detention. The message was, you have sinned, and now you have to suffer.
Okay.
That's how you will be forgiven, I guess.
Right.
They
That's
were
how you'll be
forced-
successful here.
Right. They were forced to work long hours without pay. Here's how it went down. The government helped pay the laundries
Okay.
in exchange for laundry services.
Oh.
Local businesses, public hospitals, and government agencies dropped off their laundry at the convents. Those who were taken in by the nuns would wash and iron the clothes, and if you refused to work, the nuns would withhold food or physically abuse you.
Oh. That sounds like a great experience.
Historian Helen J. Self wrote a book called Prostitution, Women, and Misuse of the Law, The Fallen Daughters of Eve, which is about the laundries.
Right.
And she said, quote, redemption might sometimes include a variety of coercive measures, including shaven heads, institutional uniforms, bread and water diets, restricted visiting, supervised correspondence, solitary confinement, and even flogging.
Some of these people are pregnant or breastfeeding.
But they're fallen women, Kara.
How dare they? Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I mean,
Ooh.
it runs right through me.
Yeah.
And the nuns are
If
women.
you can see Megan's face.
The nuns are women doing this to other women.
I just don't
But it's all in the name of
understand
God. So
it. They had the power.
And I'm just like, God wouldn't have wanted this.
No.
God would not support this. He would not be okay with this.
No.
These are the people
He would have
that
been the
make
one taking
other
care
people
of them.
not like God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
According to the Justice for Magdalenes, which is an advocacy group, survivors speak of constantly being under surveillance, being verbally insulted, feeling cold, having a poor diet, and enduring humiliating and inadequate hygiene conditions. None of the girls received an education. So, like, the laundry started as a way to empower these women, but instead, they were treated like, since they were in the laundries, they weren't even worthy of being
It
treated
just became
like
a
a
business
human.
model.
Yeah. It's like it's a trick.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to help you.
Yeah.
But because you've agreed to let us help you,
Yeah.
we're going to treat you
Yeah.
like garbage.
Yeah. We're going to make you slave away.
We recognize you as a victim who needs help, but we also think less of you because you're a victim who needs
Right.
help.
So really, we're just getting you off the street.
And you should know your place.
Uh-huh.
Babies were born. This is going to be terrible, what I'm about to tell you all. Babies were born in the laundries. And they were usually taken from their mothers and given to other families, but not always. Sometimes what happened was way worse. Get ready to skip ahead if you want to miss what I'm about to say, which involves babies and awfulness. I'm going to give you a second to pick up your phone and hit the skip button. 2 times should do it. At the St. Mary's Mother and Baby Home, the remains of close to 800 babies were found in the septic tank.
Oh my God. Sorry, Mom.
800.
Megan's mom.
I don't think my mom listens anymore.
Okay.
Because I said, oh my God, too much. 800,
Oh.
Kara.
My God.
So here's a little more information about what went on in the laundries from the women who lived it.
Ooh, yeah, because we have firsthand words.
Yeah,
Okay.
this wasn't that long ago.
Good. Oh, good.
Mary Smith found herself in one of the Magdalene laundries at 16 years old after she was raped. She was the victim here.
Right.
But she had to be put away in case she got pregnant. She was forced to work in the laundry and took a vow of silence. The nuns cut her hair and gave her a new name. Mary said the nuns made her and the other girls feel like they weren't human.
Like it's a witness protection program?
Yeah. How'd she become a fallen woman? She was raped.
She was raped. She wore the wrong clothing. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
She said, we used to have to line up and they would make us hold our hands. And the nuns used to say to us, say after me, I am a nobody. I am a nobody. They used to keep telling us to say that. I am a nobody. You know how I feel about affirmations? Like,
You're a champion.
You're saying this. Can you imagine being forced to say that all the time? I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody.
Ooh.
Another survivor, Elizabeth Coppin, grew up in the Magdalene laundry system. She had been removed from her childhood home when she was 2 years old after her stepfather physically abused her. She became a ward of the court, and the court order said that she would be a ward of the court until she was 16. Instead, she wound up in the laundry system, which she didn't get out of until she was 19.
Oh, my gosh.
Elizabeth says she was starved, beaten, locked in cupboards, and forced to wear soiled clothes on her head if she wet herself. When she was 12 or 13, she set her clothes on fire in an attempt to die by suicide.
Oh, poor baby.
She survived and was not given medical treatment. Yeah, she was 12 or 13 and already like, I can't do this.
Poor baby.
She told the New York Times, it dawned on me that I would be there for life, that I'd be buried in a mass grave. There were whispers that went around. I saw the people who were there, who were broken.
Hearing that at 12 and 13.
They were broken, institutionalized, illiterate, from living in a dark, dark place with no way out.
Oh, my God.
I remember asking myself, what will I do? How will I get out?
Poor thing.
And then she did escape the laundry when she was 17. And 3 months later, child protection workers forced her to go back. I cannot imagine being sent back.
No.
Marina Gambold worked in the laundry too, and she echoes the claims of starving and abuse.
Oh, my gosh.
The Magdalene laundries continued to operate into the 1990s. And I doubt this will surprise anyone. They didn't even achieve their supposed primary objective.
Oh, yeah?
The institutions had little impact on prostitution.
Wow.
But they kept growing, even without results to back their existence. Why? Because these women and girls had become an easily available source of free labor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
As the institutions grew larger,
making money off of them.
Yeah. Ooh. They built bigger buildings, and of course there was pressure to fill them. We can't have empty beds.
Right.
So then they broadened the definition of what it meant to be a fallen woman. It got to the point that the definition was like pretty loose. It extended beyond sex workers to petty criminals, orphans, mentally disabled women, abused girls, and anyone who kind of broke the social moral rules in Ireland, like being too flirtatious. It's a witch hunt.
Yeah.
And as the number of laundries increased, the girls were treated worse and worse, and the institutions became more and more secretive. Here's a direct quote from one of the articles. Though these women had committed no crime and had never been put on trial, their indefinite incarceration was enforced by locked doors, iron gates, and prison guards in the form of apathetic sisters. By 1920, Magdalene laundries had almost entirely abandoned claims of rehabilitation and instead were seamlessly incorporated into the state's architecture of containment.
Oh my gosh.
The last Magdalene laundry in Ireland closed in 1996, due largely in part to that mass grave that had been discovered in 1992.
Oh my gosh.
That last one was the... See, I want to say Gloucester, but I feel like it's something like Gloucester or Gloucester or something, you know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
Street laundry. So I apologize for how I'm sure I mispronounced that. At the time of its closure, it was home to 40 women most of them elderly, and many without, and many with developmental disabilities.
Oh my gosh.
From 1765 to 1996, an estimated 300,000 fallen women came through the Magdalene laundries, although that number is probably higher. Many laundries didn't keep good records and neglected to report when girls died. And there's this whole like institutional secrecy going on because it's had this religious thing. And so they're like,
Right.
we don't have to show you our records.
We don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Can you imagine being like young and growing up in that religion? I'm assuming Catholic. Because Ireland, whatnot, back in the day.
It's Catholic nuns that ran
Yeah. So being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to become a nun. I'm a Sister Sarah, guys. I would love to help out in the community. And you get in there and you're like, oh my gosh.
And then the way that, 1765 to 1996, hundreds of years.
And nothing changed.
And it's normalized within these places.
Yeah.
It just... Even if you go in with that attitude of like, I'm here to help people, then it becomes like, oh, I guess this is how we do it. People.
Yeah.
And this was like in 1992, when they found this mass grave, it got attention, but like it was like it's not like people didn't know.
Right.
It was an open secret.
Right. Yeah.
When the truth came out, the United Nations investigated the Magdalene laundries for violating human rights and concluded that the victims were, quote, deprived of their identity, of education, and often of food and essential medicines, and were imposed with an obligation of silence and prohibited from having any contact with the outside world. The Irish government acknowledged their involvement in the laundries and the deep cruelty of them. In 2013, Ireland's president apologized to the Magdalene women and announced a compensation fund. A few days after this apology, two nuns gave a radio interview under the condition of anonymity for themselves and their institute. They stated that they hadn't participated in the laundries themselves, but that the media coverage was one-sided.
Oh.
I have a problem with this because I'm like, if you didn't participate and you weren't there, why are you commenting?
Yeah.
Yeah. They made no apologies for the laundries, saying, apologize for what? Apologize for providing a service. We provided a free service for the country.
You mean slave labor?
We provided a free service for the country. I have chills. I'm just like, I want to punch people in the face. Like, I'm a patriot.
I was doing the Lord's work.
Oh my God. And that's the thing that kills me is that I feel like for these nuns, apparently not these two because they say they weren't, but like for the women who were involved in it, to be able to do the things they were doing to other human beings, less fortunate human beings, which I'm pretty sure God tells us to take care of. Right.
God would have been washing their feet.
They would have had to have somehow found a way to believe that what they were doing is right. Right? They had to.
The will of
convince themselves somehow. But how do you sleep at night?
Right. Maybe it was like a thing of power.
And then these nuns went on to complain that all the shame of the era is being dumped on the religious orders. The sins of society are being placed on us.
No, honey, your sister's sins.
Just apologize.
Yeah.
Just say,
I don't know what happened in there.
But it's awful.
But it sounds awful.
And God couldn't have condoned it.
Right. That is not something we would do.
About to make us matter.
Okay.
So this is all in 2013, right? Like Ireland apologizes. These nuns are like, what are we apologizing for?
Yeah.
And then in July 2013, Bill Donahue, president of the Catholic League, a U.S.-based advocacy group, he wrote, no one was imprisoned nor forced against her will to stay. There was no slave labor.
Oh.
It's all a lie.
Oh, yeah?
Donahue alleged that the women in the asylums were, quote, prostitutes and women seen as likely candidates for the world's oldest profession. Unmarried women, especially those who gave birth out of wedlock, were likely candidates. Contrary to what's been reported, the laundries were not imposed on these women. They were a realistic response to a growing social problem. Prostitution.
Bill. Yeah, Bill. Okay.
Great, Bill. Thanks for weighing in, Bill.
All the way from the U.S.
Bill.
Bill, so glad you were speaking so prophetically.
The United Nations did a study, Bill.
Bill.
They looked into this, and let me remind you that they concluded the victims were deprived of their identity, of education, and
Starved.
food and essential medicines,
Hidden in cabinets.
and prohibited from having any contact with the outside world. Bill.
Bill.
I don't know if Bill's still around,
Bill.
but if anybody knows him,
We don't like you.
have him get in touch.
Send him a letter of glitter.
So
Just go ahead and send him one of those envelopes with glitter in it, please.
there are multiple
Bill,
multiple women.
you
It's
weren't
not like
there.
one or two women came out and was like, I had something
Bill,
happen.
there's
Multiple women.
ladies buried. There's babies buried.
Mm.
And
So
Bill,
I thought I was done with the episode there.
angry with Bill and the two nuns.
But then I read this sentence.
Okay.
Or it's not exactly the sentence.
Is it a quote or
I paraphrased
just
it. It's not a
okay?
quote.
Okay.
But I read that the Magdalene Asylums were originally started by Christian churches in Western countries, including the United States.
Oh,
They existed lots of other places,
oh yeah.
and they were charitable organizations to support fallen women.
Mm.
So when I read that, I was like, well, let me just look real quick.
Mm.
What were they like here?
Yeah. Are they?
Because there's all
different?
this attention
In
on the Ireland
Yeah.
Magdalene Asylums.
Those sisters
So,
were our sisters
right,
any better?
I'm done with this episode, but real quick, I'm just going to Google.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to mention,
Right.
I don't want to be like Ireland's awful. They were a lot of places, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
The ones here had about the same trajectory as the Irish ones. They started out with good intentions.
Right,
They,
right.
Like everything
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
too much.
Okay.
They existed
Do we
here.
have our own bill in this scenario?
Well,
Okay.
hang on. They existed here almost as long as they existed there.
Okay.
There was just as many.
Okay.
They were very cruel.
Gotcha.
One of the first ones, Kara, was in
Mhm.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Huh.
The sisters who ran it encouraged courts to commit and pay for the incarceration of the women housed there.
Hmm.
The women held in these laundries were sentenced to these institutions by criminal courts, confined involuntarily, and isolated from the outside world,
Oh.
which sounds a lot like prison.
So we took their rights away.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Way to go, Louisville.
The thing is, you can't find nearly as much information about the U.S. laundries because, for whatever reason, even after the publicity of the Irish
Those reports
ones,
are gone?
they just haven't been as investigated. People just, they want to be like, look what happened in Ireland. But like, it wasn't just in Ireland.
Somebody popular needs to go on X, Twitter, and just be like, what about those U.S. laundries?
Kara, nobody popular goes on Twitter. Okay.
Nobody, I know.
Twitter's dying.
Dying.
Which is very sad. Twitter used
Yeah.
to be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I can't find much. I tried.
Right.
I keep finding the same few
Where is
accounts.
the TikTokers?
So I will give you this
Mhm.
account from a woman who had lived in a U.S. one,
Okay. Do we know where this one was?
Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
Diana found herself in a Magdalene asylum after being basically abandoned by her parents. There was a whole back and forth with her parents. She was in and out of foster care.
Mm-hmm.
They both neglected her. She tried to go back to her mom. Her mom wanted nothing to do with her. And finally,
Okay. Yeah.
At 14, she entered the Good Shepherd Laundry in Buffalo, New York,
Okay.
where girls ages 14 to 18 went to do penance for their sins. Run by Irish Catholic nuns and priests, the laundry was, where girls age 14 to 18 went to do penance for their sins. I just said it twice.
Twice again.
I just really want to make sure you all
We
understand.
need to know what they're doing there. Okay.
Diana said that when she entered, a nun took her to a small room with a doctor who stared at her and said, well, what do you think? Is she a virgin? And the nun laughed and left the room. And then he raped her. The doctor. Who knows if he was a real doctor? Who knows? She's 14. The nun laughed.
Laughed. I hate these people.
Inside the institution, you could only talk when the nuns allowed you to. If you misbehaved, they locked you inside a narrow broom closet, sometimes for days. But don't worry, they would give you a bucket if you had to go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
Which sounds better than the dungeon room, which was an old shower room with benches. You were in total darkness in the dungeon room, Diana recalls. As you sat in silence, you could hear a high-pitched squeal begin to grow louder and louder. Then your body would shake in fear as you felt the rats begin to crawl over your body.
Oh, no.
Diane said they spent many hours doing penance for their sins, kneeling on the hard cobblestone floors, and they were beaten regularly.
Oh, my God.
She said the laundry supported themselves with the slave labor force, and she also says illegal adoptions were a common occurrence, with unwed and pregnant young women given no choice
Pregnant by the doctor?
but to give their children up for adoption. This is where I get, the whole thing about like the way that unwed pregnant young women were treated then and still aren't treated great now in some, cultures or whatever, people with ridiculous opinions. You realize the women don't get pregnant by themselves.
Right.
But like, they're the ones punished.
We didn't
forever.
pray for this.
Fallen woman. I just want to, we should make a t-shirt that says fallen woman. We're putting that in the merch.
July merch.
Okay.
Yeah, let me text that to you really quick.
Thank you. I did find a press release by a law firm, Janet and Suggs, which
Love that.
Janet.
Yeah.
Is the last name. The attorney who I'm going to quote, I think his name was Andrew Janet. He represents a few of the survivors, or the firm represents a few of the survivors of the U.S. laundries.
Good.
So the press release.
Of course, a firm called Janet.
Of course, obviously. Yeah. Good decisions. The press release was about a documentary, but it also said this, which I'm just going to read directly. Thousands of women were victimized in these homes, yet this is the first time that we know of that these abuses are being made widely public. A huge amount of publicity has focused on the Irish Magdalene laundries, but little to none on the same U.S. homes. Although from survivor accounts and historical documents, they were just as brutal, Janet said. Historical documents may exist in government archives or historical associations about what happened in these homes and how officials dealt with criminal and civil complaints, pregnancies, and adoptions. We encourage the press and other researchers to look into these homes and publish their findings.
Ooh.
And that's end.
It.
That's all I have. I mean, I really wanted to find more information.
To share that. Mm-hmm. We need to put it out on Twitter and be like,
that's
not Twitter. Not Twitter.
Not Twitter.
TikTok.
Nobody talks on Twitter.
We need to put it out on TikTok.
But just, I don't know. You never know who's listening. But if you are anybody who has any connections or anything to look into this, like,
please.
In Ireland, the president of Ireland issued an apology and they compensated the women who survived.
Yeah, let's give these
which does nothing for the women who didn't survive.
Voices.
Or who died before the apology came out. But like, it's something.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make it better, but.
Right. It's not necessarily, I always think about these things because people are like, well, there's a big settlement number and it's distributed. So.
Right. You only get $100. Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not really about helping the people as much as it is about punishing the people that need to be punished.
Right.
It still punishes that group by having to give up so much money.
Yeah. And makes them acknowledge that it happened.
I just can't believe.
But these poor people that have just been hiding this their whole entire lives because they were taught that they're a nobody. Oh,
ruined your whole day.
Oh God, I'm really angry.
I hope we're all angry enough to do something.
Yeah.
I hate to ruin your all's day, but it's just like a story that I thought people should know.
Oh my gosh.
There you are, the Magdalene laundries. I
hate it so
I'm very
much.
upset.
Yeah. Gross.
We love you guys
so much. We really do.
Thank you so much for listening.
Sorry to end your
month on. We will, like I said, we're going to take June off, but we'll be around a little bit in June. If you're not already a member of the Patreon, maybe you could join. There's a whole lot of episodes there you can listen to if you're missing us.
Catch up. Yeah.
You could just join for the month while we're gone. We love you.
Go use that discount code BESTIES.
Oh, that's right. I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Too. Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.